John Wick 3 is an action movie so awesome that by the time you walk away from 2 hours and 10 minutes of it, you're trying to remember so many badass things that you almost forget that in the first 5 minutes, John Wick killed a dude with a book. A book. Now imagine how many mind-blowingly incredible things you'd have to see to forget that. So yeah, John Wick 3, definitely not bad. The John Wick series is the most random goddamn thing when you stop and think about it. So, the first movie dropped in 2013, 2014, as this sort of dark horse indie actioner that got loads of buzz on the festival circuit, which usually means nothing as regards quality, admittedly, but then it turned out to actually be awesome and really inventive and an instant classic, this stripped down, muscular, kinetic action bit of cinema that just took the ultra-violence of the 80s stuff and evolved it straight through 90s Hong Kong action and scooping up a bit of Bourne-era knockabout fare into what can only really be called hyper-violence. Then they went and ruined it by pulling a Raid 2 and thinking the addition of way too much mythology and convolution would give a sequel some extra spring in its step. John Wick 2 is pretty good, but it's a far baggier movie than John Wick. Where's John Wick 3 land for me then? Well, actually, kind of as the perfect John Wick sequel. It follows directly on from the second, it dials the mythology down just a touch, and it just gets into the concept of the world's most notorious assassin being hunted by literally every other assassin in the world. That's really all there is to it. I mean, John Wick's looking to buy his freedom from the very top, the high table, and soon enemies become friends, friends become enemies, and Sir Bronn of the Blackwater shows up because there is literally nothing in the universe that isn't somehow about Game of Thrones this month. Yeah, this is gonna date really quickly. So the focus for John Wick 3 definitely swings, at least for the first half, right back onto John himself, and there's even some pretty intriguing bits of backstory laid out for him this time around. I mean, there's never been anything too particularly mysterious about the character, it's really just all been quite unspoken. It's one of those movies where you're gonna leave it knowing absolutely who this guy is as a person, and well, the way in which the writers and Keanu Reeves and his performance round out and keep layering him is really effective, at least for that first half. I mean, after that, it's mostly just needlessly prolonged, viscerally awesome action beats. I'm not complaining, but that is what it is. Though actually, that's a thing with John Wick 3, by the way. This thing is gruesome. Like, straight up sadistic at times. There was a noticeable ramp up in the gore factor between 1 and 2, but the leap from 2 to 3 is just astonishing. I mean, there are some nasty ass things in 3 that'll just have you wincing in your seat. It's genuinely OTT, I loved it. Stylistically, it's gorgeous to look at, like the first two. It's got Dan Laustsen returning as the DP from 2, and Chad Stahelski's action roots, they bear total fruit. There's some brilliantly realized sequences in there. There's just some top-shelf choreography, some out-of-this-world stunt work, which obviously makes sense given the director. And can we all just take a moment to appreciate how Keanu Reeves just somehow remains at the serious forefront of mainstream actionists? I mean, you see this guy in some of the unbroken single-shot action beats, and god damn, he's just astonishing. On the supporting front, Halle Berry actually blew me away a little bit too. She turns up for about half an hour as an old ally with the sort of most badass guard dogs you've ever done seen, and she rocks this massive gunplay beat that you really couldn't have pictured her pulling off if you just read it on paper, and she absolutely stands toe-to-toe with Keanu Reeves. I mean, who knew? This is also actually the most likable I found Halle Berry in at least a decade, I'm not gonna lie. Lawrence Fishburne gets a little bit more of a role this time, and he's both having fun and fun to watch, and Jason Mantzoukas appears briefly and lands himself a line of dialogue that's going to be chanted in How Did This Get Made recordings forever, and Ian McShane's great fun in what's now probably the second largest role of this series, and Lance Reddick's mad jam. He is just, whenever he turns up in anything, he's the absolute MVP every time. I love that man. Never disappoints. This time, though, I kind of found the standouts to be Mark Dacascos as this OTT, like completely on-the-level assassin villain, and Asia Kate Dillon as basically the face of the mythology element of the series. Dillon, I like a lot. They're playing Taylor Mason on that show Billions at the moment, and just yes, I mean, absolute win. Big fan. Whole thing's a win. I mean, it's hyper-violent, kinetic action at its absolute pinnacle. It's jaw-dropping to just absorb visually. It's an experience to sit through, given how often you wind up involuntarily physically responding to it, and it's just all-out fun. The ongoing narrative of it will make no sense if you haven't seen the first two, obviously, but given that one of those is like a top 10 of all-time action flick, you probably should get on that anyway. It's a great threequel, bit of an open-ended one, not so much an absolute trilogy closer, so I guess that Continental TV show thing is absolutely going to happen now. Yeah, this is just a hell of a ride, 4 stars. Now, let's see how that third Raid movie stacks up if it ever turns up. So you know what, there's just too many things out this week to just pick one for the bonus review, so here's some rapid fire. Writer-director Jamie Patterson's got a movie out this week called Tucked. It's a drama about an older, terminally ill drag queen and the unlikely bond he forms with a newcomer to the scene. So Darren Nesbitt from Where Eagles Dare is the older Jackie, and Jordan Stevenson is the younger Faith. They're both really good. Nesbitt goes full Dave Johns and I, Daniel Blake at times. There's some really great performances in it. The story's a little rote. You know absolutely where it's going at any given time, but it's got bags of charm and likability, and Patterson's screenplay is pretty sharp, and visually and stylistically it leans a little on the sort of, I don't know, fading stage of the Britpop aesthetic. I really dug that. Really good movie, 4 stars. I hope to catch it again. Meanwhile, Roxanne Dawson from Star Trek Voyager has been a TV director since literally being trained whilst on that show 20 years ago, and she's making her feature debut with Breakthrough. Why is anybody's guess, but she is, and it's terrible. It's based on the true story of an adopted teenage athlete who was revived after drowning under an icy lake and having been dead for 45 minutes. This being Middle America, it was declared a miracle of the Lord, and, well, now Topher Grace gets to play one of those funky pastors who wears skinny jeans and uses a headset mic like he's Gaga. And so enter the world of what's just clearly a movie meant for the Hallmark Channel, a movie in which the focus is less about the boy any of this apparently happened to, and more on a confluence of random-ass characters who intersect with his life and the rescue effort. Since Dawson comes from TV and the film itself is so televisual, they populate the roster of those characters with some comparably TV talent, so like Mike Coulter, Chrissy Metz, Topher Grace, that kind of grade. And then Josh Lucas, who just looks throughout like he's embarrassed he even got out of bed that morning. And, well, given the cornball sub-miracles from heaven dross that Breakthrough turns out to be, you kinda can't blame him. 1 star. I'm shocked I didn't see this on a 40-inch screen and starring Lori Loughlin, though I guess that's gonna become rarer. Okay, last one. So there's a documentary out called Pick of the Litter. It's a cutesy, not particularly challenging, 90-ish minute piece about the raising and training of a litter of guide dogs for the blind. It's nothing revolutionary in any sense. It's the kind of thing you'd see on Nat Geo or the Lifestyle channels as daytime output, something like that. But it's very likable. They use enough emotional manipulation with the dogs themselves to break you into tears a few times. 3 stars because it's quite sweet and uplifting, and, well, you know what? It's got more cred in the cinema than Breakthrough does at any rate. Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, rate, and review.